Nova Scotia Black Indian Stories, back with another episode. 2 videos, same day. I was inspired to do this video via a conversation that I had with a fellow spiritual sister. You know, that, hey, new, but definitely we share a lifetime. uh, Another lifetime. We knew one another because that's just, it was instamatic. And I met her through my channel. And you all know, because she's got her own channel, Lexi, in her incredible journey. And it is an incredible journey. But she received a beautiful phone call from her today, which was, I guess, spirit inspired because of the conversation that took place. We were just talking about our journey, spiritual journey, and I was sharing my journey with her on how I came to be. And it ended up being an emotional conversation. uh, as this journey is, I guess, that's the part of the unveiling. We're unveiling the innards of us that have been laid dormant for so long. So it's a beautiful thing, just as that conversation was a beautiful conversation. But to get to the point of where I was going with this is that we were talking about, I was telling her that, I come from a line of spiritual women who had gifts. And my mother being one of those women who was my first spiritual teacher, who did not get to practice her gifts with the same freeness that I do have today. I grew up in a time period where my mother and my grandmother were both readers. My mother had an incredible intuition, Aries. Oh my God. And now that I understand more about the Aries, I understand the relationship of which existed between me and my mom, which was always a challenging one, and one where I felt very much misunderstood and yet understood. And I will get to that point because I don't want to lose my focus or my point. Going back to my mom and watching her uh, uh, read people, because she read tea leaves. So I grew up um, watching people come into my home, and I knew when they said put the teapot on or got any tea, that meant, can you read? Can you read me? Or, Joyce, you got any eggs? Because my mom also raised hens and sold eggs. So it was a huge part of my growing up to watch her. That's the thing right there. You know what? She recognized something in me that allowed me to stay in the room when she was reading. Because I'm not going to say all the time, which I know that, you know what, she did that for privacy in terms of the person that she was reading. Because there were certain ones that came to her all the time to get their readings done. Anyways, my point being is that I was privileged to be able to stay in the room and watch the process go. And I say this because I know that she recognized in me what I am sharing with you today, that she recognized my intuitive gift. She knew that I had a spiritual gift because in conversation with my mother, I remember her saying, "You were born with a call," she would say to me. And I didn't understand what that meant. A call. Call. I thought, is it something around my neck? Something around my neck? And she said, "You were born with a mark," which I do have on my leg. Shouldn't be exposing all this. Some warlock out there. I got you. I got you. You want to pull up on this? Pull up and get done up. Anyways, my point being is that I come to understand what she meant. And I also come to understand what she was doing throughout our relationship. She was trying to prepare me for the life that I was going to have. Because as I told you, my mom, she being you know, I want to say settled down, but yeah, it would have felt like settled down with, 13 children, her airy spirit, which was more of a free spirit. And I would watch her go through these periods of, screaming for her freedom, acting like she was free. And then, that's when things would break down, but then she'd come back to her senses and come back to mama. So, big ups for her for sacrificing actually. And I don't want to use that word sacrificing, but yes, it was a sacrifice. It was a sacrifice to give up that part of her and continue to stay in the game of raising us 13 even after our dad died. Um, but digressing. There's so much to the woman that I've come to appreciate that, what, I want to embody all of her into my conversation. But that would be hard to do just because of the woman that she was and how misunderstood she was. As I said, I grew up a huge chunk of my younger life watching her read people and use her intuition, and as well, what, she was a healer like myself, because I would watch her go in and collect herbs and poultices to either remove spirits or to heal. So that's where I come from. And my grandmother, she would often consult my grandmother when she was unsure about what it was that she was reading. And then my grandmother would come by and give clarity. So I'm telling you that is where I get my gifts, my gift of intuition and my gift of being able to read people, and have been that way since, what, I came out of her womb. So this walk for me is a walk that I can honestly tell you that in my memory of memories, um, ha, too, I remember my first encounter with spirit and astral travel. But that's a story for another day. But anyways, when I started to embrace more of who I was, I therefore started to connect more with who I was, who I really was. And it's been a journey, because that journey between then and now, so much has gone on in between that. But I'll tell you, what never ever ceased to exist was the impact of that woman's lessons in what she did not speak, but what I saw. She was about it, doing it. She was about, I watched her. When you see me in the kitchen, that's her. When you see me speaking, I saw my mother speak in so many ways, and yet at the same time, I saw where her throat chakra was blocked to the point of where she stopped using her gifts. She stopped reading people, you know, um, because of the challenges that she had to face in this lifetime. Um, Although also I'll let you know that, what, she has told me via spirit that she's very proud of me. She's very proud of me using my voice, and she's very proud of me taking this to the level of in which, what, I'll tell you, if she was here today, we would be a force, because, what, there'd be no problem for her to be using her gift. In fact, I would be consulting her as I do in spirit realm. And she has been a part of my journey in terms of guiding me. So this video is in honor of you, Joyce Elaine Bailey Curry. You were my first spiritual teacher. And I want you to know I was listening very intently. Things that you said to me, they all make sense now. Every little ditty that you would say, which impacted so many lessons, and at the time, much of which I did not understand. It lets me know you knew who I was. In saying that, I'm going to leave you. This was not going to be a long video, but definitely one that I wanted to do when I was connected in my thought and in my spirit, and I didn't want to leave it. So hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe if you already haven't. And my message to you today is embrace your difference. Embrace your difference. And if you've been the one that has been brought here to bring the change, I will tell you something. There's a likelihood that there was somebody in your family too that had that same job, that have passed, and they are rooting for you right now. And I don't care how old you are. I don't care how old you are. Because you know what? This message was meant for you because you're receiving it right now, especially if you're still engaged at this point in the video. I salute you for answering your call. I salute you for embracing your difference. I salute you for standing in your power. Let's be the change that we want to see. And that's what we're doing over here. We making change. We blowing up. We growing. We building. Whew. Powerful things. Because we got the power. Mm, 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 mm.